Okay, in this module, we're going to cover functions. I'm going to start off with a simple function and talk about, simple program and talk about void functions using value parameters. This is the work that you were doing in the previous module, so this should all be review. And then from there, I'm going to move on to value returning functions, and then I'm going to move on to reference parameters. So please go through these sequentially and make sure that you understand it at each step along the way. Okay, so let's just see what this program does. It asks the user to enter the sticker price of a car, and it reads it in. And my variables here are all doubles. It's going to ask you to enter a percentage of discount. Now, you're not going to put 0.5, 0.10. We're just going to put 5, 10, 15, 20, and then within the calculation, we'll divide it by 100. So like 5 divided by 100 is 0.05, which is 5%. So we're going to calculate the discount amount, which is just, here we have that percentage divided by 100 times the sticker price. And then the final cost will be the sticker price minus the discount. And here we're just displaying everything out, the original cost, the final cost, and the total savings, which is the discount. And that's really all this program does. So I'm going to run it. Okay. Let's say 35,000, 10%, and what displays is the original cost, the discount cost, and the total savings. Okay, very, very simple program. And I might just here so I can set fixed and set precision. Because these are doubles, so I mean, you want them to look consistent. You know, if we put 35, 50, 10%, that looks better. Okay, so simple program, and make sure that we understand how to do it. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by putting this code in a function that's called display car cost. Okay, a display function is a very common void function. You just have your code in there, you call the function, you can pass it some information from the main program, right, some arguments into the parameter list, and it uses those parameters and it executes the function. And that's it. So it jumps out to the function, executes the code, and then it just returns you back to the main program where you left off. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it down here into a function. I think I just called that display car cost. I'm going to talk about the parameter list in a minute, but here's the code that was in the main program. Okay. So the information that's in main that I need in this function is the sticker, the percentage, the discount, and the final cost. Is it per sticker, the final cost, and the discount? I'm sorry, I don't need the percentage here. Okay, so I'm going to pass those in the parameter list. Okay. Now, the main program and the sub-program are different programs, and you might say, hey, these guys are all declared up here already. Why do I need to have them declared again inside the function? It's because they're separate sub-programs. Declaring something in main, if you get into the function, it's not declared there. So you can declare things either in the parameter list, right? Or sometimes we declare things locally, which we'll be talking about shortly. Okay, in another video. Now remember, every function needs a prototype. So I'm going to copy the heading and I'm going to paste it up at the top. okay, and put a semicolon at the end. That's your prototype. Now I know that the textbook author shows you that in the prototype, the variable names are optional, so it's fine if you want to do that. I tend to find that for beginning programmers, sometimes it's easier if they just copy the heading, paste it up to the top, and put a semicolon after it. Okay, now we need to call this function. When you have a void function, the way you call the function is you just have the function name, and see how I'm using the IntelliSense? Once it gets highlighted below, I just hit the tab key. And this kind of shows you the order: sticker, final cost, and discount. Now, that IntelliSense that you see is showing the heading of the function. So don't just type in what you see, because you don't put, you don't put data types in function calls. Okay. So what's going to happen here in the main program, you have these 4 variables. You're going to enter the sticker price, right, which we put in, which was $35,000 in my first example. A percentage of 10. These are all getting stored in memory. The discount is going to be $3,500. The final cost is going to be $31,500, right? This is all getting stored in variables in main. Now here, this information in the argument list is being passed to the parameters. So the sticker, which was $35,000, gets passed into here. They're 2 separate memory locations. This is a value parameter. It makes a copy of the information from main in that new variable inside the function. Okay. Same thing with final cost, a value parameter. It makes a copy of that final cost, which is $31,500, inside of this parameter. And the discount, which was $3,500, it makes a copy of it here in this parameter. So now you have variables in main called sticker, final cost, and discount, and variables in the function called sticker, final count, and discount. They have the same information in them at this point. That's how value parameters work. Okay. Now, what's important to know is that when this code executes, it's going to execute using those memory locations, or those variables that are right here. So this is all our function sees. Okay. Now when I run it, okay, you can see it run. All right. Now keep in mind, there's a couple things you need to understand about functions. In the main program and in the function, they can have the same names. They're still different memory locations. But if I want, I could give them different names. If you give them different names, maybe keep them related names, so you have an idea of what it is that you're referring back to. Because parameter lists, really, it just passes things in order. Sticker into sticker 1, final cost into final cost 1, discount. It just passes them in order, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't care what they're called. So it's okay to leave the names the same, especially if you're only calling a function once. But it would also be okay to change the names, but you have to be consistent. If you change them here in the function, those are the names that you're using in the function. Now remember, I could also call this function a second time if I wanted, I'm not doing calculations here, but just to show you the sticker price, I guess the final cost, and discounts 1,000. I'm just picking numbers here, but just to show you, I could call this function twice if I want. One with the user input. It'd be nice to have an endl in here, and one with the information that was just passed in during the function call, where the original cost is $20,000, the discount is 19,000 and the total savings is 1,000. Okay, so I mean, I can make that look nicer. I can put, you know, another endel inside the function or an endel between here. But with value parameters, note you can pass variables that have information in them already, or you can just pass these literal values in, and that's fine too. Now this guy is a double, so I mean you could do this, but technically if you have an integer and you pass it into a double, it just gets stored as a double inside of here. Okay, all right, so that's like everything that we did in the previous module, and demonstrates everything you need to know about simple void functions with parameters.